Hi guys, welcome back to the Dictate the Game podcast. My name's Dom. I obviously don't normally host this. This is normally Eric's bit, but unfortunately, due to a couple of time restraints, I'm taking over as pseudo host, and I'm joined today by Guy, aka FMVars.
Hi, how you doing?
And we've got a little bit here. We're with Dave Azzopardi. Am I saying that right?
That is correct. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
That's fine. And for those of you who don't know, Dave essentially works for Football Manager. He's a Watford fan, and he gets paid to go to games and watch them play. Is it Wolves? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
oh, God. sorry. That was really bad, wasn't it? We did our research. I swear to God, we did our research. No, I'm just doing that to wind him up. Yeah, no, so he's a big Wolves fan. He does a podcast called Talking Wolves, not Talking Watford.
Yeah, not Talking Watford. That's it.
Yeah, no, that'd be a bit different.
I'll start that as a rival one next week.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. So just tell everyone a bit about kind of who you are and why you're kind of cool, and go for it.
So obviously, as you say, I am a Wolves fan, not a Watford fan. I've been doing football. Well, I've been playing Football Manager since FM07. I've been doing YouTube since about FM15, I think. So yeah, built a little bit of a following over on there. Used to stream a little bit, but I think YouTube's my sort of thing. I think it's more suited to me. I sort of set up a separate YouTube channel for my Wolves stuff as well. So very much into the Football Manager and Wolves side of things. Got approached to be the Wolves researcher at the start of last season for Football Manager as well. So it's something that I enjoy doing as well. It's something a little bit different, but yeah, all good fun. And very much I think the sort of main hobby is Football Manager and Wolves, really.
And I'm pretty sure you've just hit 10,000 subs on YouTube.
Yeah, on
so
YouTube, yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I mean, for the Football Manager community, that's pretty good, I can't think of many other people. I think, how many does Goldham FM have these days? But he was always kind of the big one.
I'd say it's probably Worth the Space, Benji, Golden FM, Lelujo, Loki Doki. There's a couple of guys that do experiments. I think Jen Calder might have hit 10K. Tom FM, but they're. I mean, I know I've said rattled off a few names there, but like in relation to the community, yeah, you are right. There's not too many that have sort of hit 10K. So yeah, it's a pretty good achievement.
Congratulations! Yeah, that's absolutely massive. So you just listed off a bunch of people that you played in the Creators Cup with, didn't you?
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a bit about that and about, because I only found out about that recently, but you guys basically got together as part of Football Manager. They contacted you.
Yeah.
And
so,
go for it. I'll just. This is the easiest interview I've ever done because you just talk. It's great.
Rattle on. Yeah. I think the first one they did was FM18. So they were in their sort of old offices at that point. So obviously they've moved since then to the ones in Stratford. But yeah, it was at their old offices. It's when sort of Curtis Morton had just joined as like the social manager, basically. So I think that was one of his big parts of his pitch in his job interview, basically saying, I want to do a community event like this. And I think they've probably tried stuff like it before, but not as well or not as high profile as what they'd done. And it was sort of all lastminute.com, really. I think literally the week before we had emails and basically had an email of Curtis saying, do you fancy joining in? And I thought, yeah, obviously. And obviously I'd gone down and I'd met, I think the first year it was myself, it was Dr. Benji, it was Golden FM, it was Loki Doki, Lelujo, Worth the Space. I think there was Chesnoid Gaming, who's like a FIFA YouTuber, and there's another YouTuber called Lewis. So I'd met a few of them before. I think I've met Loki and Lelujo before, but I don't think I've met Benji before. But we all got on really well, to be fair, and it was interesting. So the first day we went on the Saturday, had a little bit of a Q&A with Miles, and then on the second day we walk into the offices that we were sat in the day before, but there's big production cameras, production guys, go over boom arm. I was like, wow. So yeah, that went well. Luckily, I got to the final on that one on the first year. Came back a couple of weeks later. I was actually against one of the FIFA guys and ended up losing over 2 legs. So it was a little bit embarrassing, but yeah, really good fun. And then obviously,
sorry. So you lost in a Football Manager game to a FIFA.
Yeah.
YouTube. Okay.
Well, the thing is, it was almost as if he was like, when he was invited and people were talking about it on Twitter, it was almost as if everyone knew he was like the token FIFA guy. Because I think it was pretty clear what FM were trying to do, was trying to get into a different market and audience. So he was like the token sort of FIFA guy, because Chesnord, he does a lot of FIFA, but he streams a lot of Football Manager, so that sort of made sense. But this guy, I met him on my train on the way there. He never played the game in his life. Like they gave it him a few weeks before to like play and try out, so he sort of got what it was. But like we were on the tube. He goes, "Who's this Miles guy we're meeting anyway?" I thought, "What?" Like literally, he didn't have a clue about the game. So when we got to the final, everyone would just presumed I was going to win, because it was I think it was $5,000 on the line as well, so it was a bit of money.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, he beat me over the 2 legs, and it was obviously live. I think it streamed on Facebook or something. I was like, oh my god. So then they did it again this year, new offices, and I think it was literally all FM guys. So I think Chesnord didn't go and Lewis didn't go. So I think the guys that replaced them were Fox in the Box and Herb the Nerd, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good fun as well. Same production guys as well. So I walked in, they knew my name straight away. I was like, "What?
Well, that's good.
Who I am as well." Yeah, but yeah, we did all like the banter sort of false interview side of things, and everyone was like, no one had me down as. Everyone wanted to play me first. I thought I've just got to a final the year before.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
but yeah, I did get knocked out first round by the eventual winner, to be fair, in Lee. So yeah, it was all good fun. But I think the best thing about the Creators Cup is actually going to meet the people that you watch on YouTube or interact with every day. So yeah, I like that, and all your food and drinks paid for as well by FM. So that's always a nice.
Not a bad deal. Yeah,
yeah.
Do you think that's something that FM could look more at and do a bit more on, like sort of interacting with the community in that way? Because like I'm subscribed to the YouTube channel. Yeah, and this kind of stuff all came out at the sort of start of the year, and it's all kind of dried up a bit. Do you think maybe that's something they could look at a bit more?
Yeah. I think to be fair, since Curtis has come in, it has gone up a lot. But I think they do it in spells, and they FM they have like a real like a period where they're just full interaction, everything like, and then like they promised us like, well, I say promised. They said to us last year like, as long as your team's licensed and stuff, they'll share some FM series on YouTube. I think the only person they've shared, or a couple they've shared, is probably Ben's and maybe one other one. I think they shared a couple of Lee's videos sort of early part of last year. But yeah, they are quieting down. I think especially on the YouTube side of things, they could do more, even if it was just a tutorial on a vanilla version of the game. If they got someone to do a tutorial version and then just say, you could check out my channel if this helped you or whatever, which I like what they're doing with the blogging side of things. They obviously,
I was going to bring that up. Yeah,
we've been involved in that as well.
Yeah. Obviously, I've seen yourselves. There's a few of the sort of FM like Grasshopper, the blogger as well. So there's quite a few people involved in that, and I think that's a great idea. And I think it's obviously getting the community more involved and stuff like that. But yeah, I think there is more than they can do. Obviously, they're still doing it. They're doing a lot more than they used to do. But yeah, there's definitely room for improvement, and there is more that they can do to help the community, really.
I just think from the point of view that you've got sort of FIFA at the minute where career mode is just massively stagnant, and there's a big market there to draw in players from FIFA into FM. And I think if they could make it a bit more accessible, like you say, maybe have people do tutorials on the FM YouTube. Could really bring those new players in, because I play an online save with a friend, and it's the first FM he's bought, and he struggles with like really basic stuff. Like when you've played it for years and years, you can pick it up pretty quickly, but that could maybe be something that they look at.
There's definitely gaps in, I say the market, but you know what I mean? There's gaps in online for these sort of tutorials, because you're right. Someone could play FM 10 years ago, and they come into the game now and they won't have a clue, because there's so much stuff on the screen at one point and stuff. But like us as content creators or whatever, you think of something at the start of the game and you just take it for granted, like the bread and butter stuff, like maybe changing the attribute colors, offering a player out, transfer listing a player. Yeah, we know how to do that, but someone going onto the game, they're not going to have a clue. So like I always think at the start of the game, right, I'm going to do a video on this, and this. And then a week later when I go and do it, I said, why am I doing a video on this? Because this is like the easiest thing ever. Well, you are right. No one's going to play the game if they don't know how to play it. So yeah, I think that especially for Football Manager, I'm sure they used to get Miles to do little stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not saying he should do it, but you've got all these YouTubers just say, oh, I was wondering if you'd be interested in doing a tutorial video. This is our list. You just pick one out, and as long as you don't swear, you don't use unlicensed logos. You know, happy days.
I think that'd be So obviously you started recording content about 2015.
Yeah.
And then it was about, you said just over a year ago, 2 years ago, that you started, getting in contact with FM themselves. How did that happen?
So I mean, for the creation side of things, they contacted me like directly. I think I'd spoken to Curtis previously before he'd sort of joined FM because he was a big FIFA YouTuber as well before he actually got the job at Football Manager. So I sort of knew of him beforehand anyway. So for that side of things, the creation side of things, that's sort of how it came about. And obviously they did an early access event as well at the start of FM19, which was good because that invited bloggers, YouTubers, streamers. That was everyone together, which was, to be fair, a good social event, better than the Creators Cup because you got people that write the game. And I've got to say, bloggers are like they know so much more about the game. Like for me as a YouTuber or as a streamer, you're trying to get through the game as quick as possible. Yeah. Mary Guido, he was in the room next to me and I was watching what he was doing and he was like making some crazy tactics, but again, there's some like the game, he'd not even played the game, but he was getting like 10, 11 win streaks. And I was like, what? But they're the sort of people like you want to interact with. Well, in regards to the research side of things, I think it was like probably say 3 or 4 years ago. I remember FM kept advertising for researchers, and I basically put my name forward. Says if is the Wolves job available, and they said no, unfortunately, and we're pretty happy with our guy, but I really appreciate the interest. And then I think it was out of the blue, like at the start of last season, just finished. The head researcher just messaged me saying basically the job's come available. The guy can't do it anymore. I know you expressed an interest, and obviously we've seen some of your content work, and we're wondering if you'd be interested. So obviously I said yes because it was something that I like the look of. So I sent me all these emails, these NDAs, and everything. I was like, oh wow. And it took a little bit to get my head around it first. Obviously, the main things are changing attributes, checking. The boring stuff is checking the personal details of players and stuff like that. So you got to check heights, date of birth and stuff. But for players that have been on the game like 10 years, you don't really need to mess with that. Contracts is the main thing. Always little fun bits like changing the kits and stuff like that. But the one thing I still can't get my head around is finances, like financial fair play and stuff. And for Wolves, it's an absolute nightmare because, as you can tell,
we saw your transfer window,
yeah. But like, because with the Chinese owners, like they're pumping the money into the club from them. It's not actually already in the club, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So how do I put that in the game? So like we spent so much money in the Championship, go to the Premier League, and the head researcher is like, well, the club are actually in, like more or less on paper in debt because you spent so much money and you haven't brought enough in. I was like, but I know they're not because the Chinese owners can just pump money in whenever.
Yeah.
But in the game, you start off a wall save on FM19, you'll be in minus 80 million debt or something ridiculous. Until like the amount of complaints, because I'm the researcher, people are going to come to me because of that. If I decided, I wouldn't put that, would I? But yeah, there was so many, and like I'll go on the forums now just to search Wolves or whatever, and there's still people complaining about that now. So they're like, I do say like within the first month, the board injects like a loan into the club, and then by the end of the season, it evens itself out anyway. So hopefully next year will be a bit more straightforward.
Do you reckon they'll add that as a feature to include the fact that money in football's just gone absolutely off the charts?
I think they will eventually, because to be fair, the last researcher, he emailed me and he obviously asked, like they obviously told him who was getting the job, and he followed me on Twitter. I didn't know who he was, to be fair, but he messaged me. He says, I've just seen you got the job. If you need any help, just let me know. So I asked, that was the first thing I said. Like I said, mate, it's pretty straightforward, but the finances just calling my head around. He goes, well, you need to go on company's house and stuff like that. So he's quite in depth, that sort of thing. I'm going on like the HMRC website just to check Wolves and stuff like that. But he was like, Wolves is such a unique, like it's so difficult to replicate it on Football Manager. And he emailed the head researcher and just said like, we need something different for Wolves almost. Because you can set your chairman as like a sugar daddy, underlining sugar daddy or whatever. So I think Wolves have got the one where it pumps the money in. But yeah, it's such a strange thing. But you are right. With the amount of money in football now, it's almost as if they're going to have to change something for that sort of thing anyway. Yeah.
So with Wolves going into the season this year, obviously have you met most of the players then?
No, I haven't met. Well, I've met some at like end of season dinners and stuff like that, but I've never
So how do you work out their personalities then? Do you just kind of guess? Do you just, if they,
So you get it off interviews, you get it off like attitudes on the pitch and stuff. Like, to be fair, I've done media work with people in and around the club, so I get an idea of like what
who's
people
Joker
like.
And whatnot.
Yeah. So I've heard people say like this person's an absolute idiot. Like, but,
wait, are you going to say who? Or
no, I'm not going to say who. Just in case.
You did say you'd answer any question.
Nah, but like, on my last podcast, to be fair, I'll say
no.
Now, on my last Wolves podcast, we were talking about this player, and somebody in the comments was like, "What are you on about? Like, how do you know this?" I was like, you know, I'm not just going to slag someone off for the sake of it. You know what I mean? Like, I've got background information. But yeah, stuff like personalities, obviously, it's always difficult. And the same with the wages. Like, all the wages in the Football Manager, unless it's publicly said, all of them are estimates. None of them are gospel, and none of them are so when Wolves signed Patricio and Moutinho, I would have said maybe on 60, 70 grand a week. And I went back on it, and the wages have gone up. And the head researcher said, "No, I've put them on 100 grand a week. I think that's way more realistic." Blimey. I was like, "Oh," and then, but now I see on Twitter all the time, yeah, this person on 100 grand a week. I thought that ain't been publicly said anyway. Someone's gone on FM, haven't they, and saw that
and used
like,
that.
Yeah. So like, I get DMs every now and then, like this player and this player, but it's hard with fees as well. You get fees that are undisclosed. You have to put a fee into Football Manager no matter what. Yeah. Even if you put it as undisclosed, you've still got to put a fee in there. So like you've got to do some serious digging sometimes for stuff like that. But yeah, that's the difficult thing. Personalities, mental attributes and stuff like that. The stuff that you can't see on the football pitch really. And you just got to use, sometimes you do have to use your imagination and some good researching.
It's quite interesting that you're saying that, you know, you're kind of winging bits of this research that's going into FM, and then clubs are using FM as a research tool. So it's almost
I think attributes and stuff they're pretty good. So like if the club are using that for that sort of side, I think they're all right. But
cool.
Yeah, contract side of things, I don't think they're ever, because there's going to be so many clauses. Like I never understand when you're on FM and a player's got this amount of clauses in their contract. How does someone know about all those clauses? Like this is going to be like an undisclosed document, surely. But I think the attributes are pretty good, and potentials and stuff like that for players are sometimes pretty good. But yeah, they don't put much pressure on you, to be fair. But I think a good researcher would go to a lot of the under 23s, under 18s games as well, because that will give you a good indication of some of the academy players too.
Have you seen much of the academies at Wolves? Do you reckon there's any starlets in there, or?
I'm not sure really, because like,
is he allowed to say it? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Now this summer they've signed a lot of foreign players to put into the academy, and I think they're sort of almost taking that sort of Man City Chelsea approach, and it's sort of 50-50. I think some people love it because they're like, yes, like, because even if they're going to be, you know, a load of rubbish or whatever, we're still going to make some sort of money or whatever. But some people don't like it. I can see it from both sides really. I can see, like, if you're a local lad looking at Wolves, you're like, well, I haven't seen any kids from Wolverhampton, you know, get a nod, so why am I going to join Wolves as a kid? But yeah, in regards to players that are currently there, I don't. If I've got to be honest, I don't think the Wolves Academy is as strong as it used to be. In the under 23s, I don't know really anyone that I don't look at the under 23s and see anyone that I could see breaking into the first team in the immediate future. If I'm being honest, you've
got Morgan Gibbs-White, who's sort of featured a bit off the bench, hasn't he? What do you think of him? Do you think he's maybe?
He's a good player, but he's very overhyped by the media, like match of the day and stuff. Like, to be fair, he had some early cameos. I think he was against Chelsea. He was like unbelievable. Like, he played some ridiculous through balls, Spurs at home as well. And then match of the day, we're like, yes, 18-year-old, 19-year-old English lad getting first team minutes, doing this, doing that.
Yeah.
And then like since then, when he's actually been starting getting more consistent minutes, he's not actually been that great. He was quite fortunate on our Asia tour in pre-season that Jimenez was injured, so he played as almost like a shadow striker, and he managed to score, and he was actually all right. But like against Crusaders, Northern Irish team in the Europa League, he really struggled. So he's just got to get that that sort of consistency, and he's got all the tools to be a great player. I think he's just got to keep his head down. I think unfortunately for him as well, the players that he plays for with England, Phil Foden, Angel Gomez, Jadon Sancho, you look around.
Love Jadon Sancho, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, he's looking around at them thinking, like, what do I need to do basically to do what they're doing? They're playing for top clubs, driving big flashy cars, getting all this money. He's doing the same sort of thing, but I think he almost thinks that he plays for one of the best teams in the world. Right. I think he's just got to level himself a little bit and realise that we're still a team that's got to fight for points.
So you've just name dropped a bunch of English talent.
Yeah.
We've got our current under 18s, under 21s England teams are. I'm pretty excited as an English person going forward about the current state of our youth academies. Am I right? Have you got some sort of tie to Malta?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Are you Maltese?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Are you half and half, or is it just kind of like a?
Well, it's granddad, so it's quarter, basically. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because we saw quite a lot of your earlier content on your YouTube channel was some experiments in Malta and stuff. So, what's it like being a Malta fan?
To be fair, obviously I follow their progress and stuff. I very rarely sort of watch the games. I was fortunate enough when they got England in the World Cup qualifying group a few years ago. So I actually went to Wembley to watch that, and it was
brilliant.
And they actually played really well. I think England won 2-0 in the end, but they actually played a lot better than what I thought. But yeah, I used to love doing saves in Malta and stuff like that on FM. I had one save and it was unbelievable. I didn't quite do it, but having good runs in there, Europa League, Champions League, qualifying stages and stuff. But as much as I'd love to do it, I've got to think of YouTube first. And 600, out of the 10,000 subscribers, are more people going to watch me play as Wolves, or are more people going to watch me play as a Maltese team? As Football Manager fans, you'd say, yeah, I'd love to see you as a Maltese team. But as general football fans, more people would probably want to see me play as Wolves. So that's always the balance that I've got to try and get. But if I get time next year, definitely I want to try and do an offline save in Malta. Because the one I did on YouTube, I managed a national team at the same time as managing a club. And it was really good fun, to be fair. So, and I think if you go long enough, if I'm buying it's very hard to sign players as well. Oh, excuse me again. To sign players into the into Malta, because there's such a small reputation and stuff. So anyone outside of Malta doesn't want to join. But I think if you manage to get 1 or 2 foreign players and you stay at the club 6 or 7 years, they're going to get their Maltese nationality as well. And over time, your national team is going to get better as well. So that's where the Malta experiments were good, the billionaire experiments. Everyone was spending so much money on Brazilians and Argentines, and then the Maltese national team was filling up with all these Brazilian names, and the world ranking was just going up and up and up. But that was one of the most interesting things, to be fair, about that sort of experiment.
You touched on that kind of balance there between sort of producing content and playing the game. Do you find that's quite a difficult balance to strike sometimes, and which way do you kind of lean on your content?
Yeah. I think, to be fair, it's hard because so many people, especially with me, I've got a full-time job, coach a football team and stuff like that. So it's the balance is so hard. But I always want to try and get at least 3 videos out a week. And I've especially with the current series I'm doing, I've been trying to be quite strict with myself, saying Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're the days I've got to upload. But at the end of the day, I've had it before. If I'm not enjoying playing Football Manager, I'm not going to play it for the sake of it. Because we speak about it all the time on Twitter or other podcasts or whatever. You look at it and you think, if I'm not enjoying playing Football Manager, I'm going to show it on my videos. So people are going to click it and say, well, he's not bothered about this, so I'm not going to be bothered to watch his videos. So I think you'll just see the general decline of views and subscribers and stuff come in general. I think it's all important. You got to put yourself first. If you're not enjoying it, there's no point in enforcing the content.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously I'm looking through your YouTube channel at the moment.
Yeah.
And a lot of your content that's done very, very well is a lot of your tactics and a lot of your guides and those kind of things. And that's kind of the stuff you were saying that would be quite good to put in the Football Manager official YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really know where I'm going with this. Just kind of what do you think's good for good content that people like to watch on YouTube? Because I feel like sometimes people struggle with Football Manager content.
Yeah.
Because obviously stories are quite good for, the creative and the kind of uniqueness of them. Yeah. But actually producing a guide or a tactic will do better in terms of numbers.
If it's a good guide or something that people to watch, the tactics are always a good one. So I think my most viewed video, it's the first one that's hit 100k views. I started the tactic when the game came out as an alpha before the beta. I played as a 4-2-3-1 gegenpress style when the tactical styles had first come out, and I was smashing teams. I was like, this is ridiculous. I went to the early access event and people were saying, have you tried the gegenpress? I was like, yeah. So I started a save with Cologne, and I'd gone the whole league season unbeaten. I thought, wow. I had a really strong team. To be fair, for the second division of Germany, it was a really strong team. But I'd gone the whole season unbeaten. I thought, you know what? People might not download it. I'm going to just put this up as a video. So I put a little bit of clickbait in there. Unbeaten, 4-2-3-1, Gegenpress tactic, Football Manager. And obviously, I've put that up right at the start of the game. So you've had the whole game, people talking Football Manager tactics. That's going to slap up first. So people are downloading it. I've had fairly positive stuff. People have commented saying, like, this is no, like, big thing, you've got the strongest team by far in the German second division, which is fair enough. But other people have said, like, oh wow, I've tried this and like it's helped me loads, which is always good. But yeah, tactic videos always do well, regardless, like whether they're good or bad. People are going to click it because it's ridiculous the amount of people that actually still do download tactics. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, by the way. Like I don't mind that at all. Guides do well. I think I did I know it's sort of a corner a tactic style. I did a corner tactic video on like FM15, and that did really well as well. But you don't see many of those sort of videos. Like people will search him, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone, especially the last year or so, do a corner or free kick tactic on YouTube. You get them written. But you're talking about gaps on YouTube. That's the sort of thing again. The only thing I think with Football Manager is they wouldn't want to put that sort of thing up, because it's almost showing a flaw in their match engine. You've got a tactic that's absolutely smashing it. So, but I think with basic guides, I think they'll do it. Yeah.
There was a tactic I highlighted last year, which was 5-2-3. I think last year, 3 up front, just
3 strikers. Yeah,
3 strikers.
Killed
absolutely broken
last year.
Absolutely broken.
I did a bit of analysis to try and sort of work out why it was, and basically it was because the back fours just went really narrow, and then it just left.
Can't cope with it.
So they probably wouldn't.
I see that with this year. With this year, I think it's narrow formations. I just can't suss out. So like I've tried to replicate Wolves' tactic. So they play 3 at the back, 2 wing backs, 3 central midfielders, and 2 strikers. It works in spells, but because if you don't like your wing backs are more inclined to sit back a little bit, but you've got such a big gap on the wings between your midfield and the strike force. If you're playing a team that plays with 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2, you get smashed every time because the match engine can't suss out why there's such a big gap. And your 3 central midfielders, they either double up together or they stay in the middle. They don't go out wide. So I've still tried to get it, but I've seen so many people struggle with 3 at the back tactics. I've had 1 or 2 people say, I've done it. It really works well. But yeah, it's so difficult to replicate unless you've got wingers, I think. But yeah, last year, 3 at the back, 3 up top rather, was just ridiculous.
So you're saying there you're a full-time coach and you're doing YouTube content 3 nights a week, and now you've started this Talking Wolves podcast. Where did the idea come from for that? And
well, yeah, I think alongside the YouTube stuff, obviously I was doing Football Manager and I was doing Wolves content as well. I think that's one of the big reasons I got such a decent following on YouTube through the Wolves stuff as well. So I was just doing stuff like match reviews, just loads of Wolves stuff, really, just giving my thoughts on transfers or whatever. And someone that he's got a pretty decent following on Twitter, Wolves fan, said, why don't you, we saw when Arsenal Fan TV had the big boom as well. He goes, why don't you like join up with different Wolves fans and just start a Wolves channel? And part of me thought, yeah, okay. Part of me thought, nah, I'll leave it. But after a couple of months, I sort of thought of it and I thought, I could still use my YouTube channel to give my thoughts and obviously Football Manager still. And then I will. So I collaborated with a couple of YouTubers that I knew of that were Wolves fans. And we went for it. So the first it was at the end of the championship season when we won promotion. So I had a microphone outside the ground and started interviewing people, really. They did all right, to be fair. For a channel that had just started, getting consistently like 700-800 views, I thought this is pretty good. And then it really it did well during the summer when we were doing transfer rumors and stuff. So there was players that some people had never heard of. And I'd just go on Google, quick 10-minute of research, do a video of it. And it's getting like 4,000 or 5,000 views because no one had ever heard of them. And you go on it, and then I'd meet someone at the next game, like, oh, man, you had some really good knowledge on that player. I was like, no, mate, I'd literally just Googled it for 10 minutes. But like, I did it, like, we signed some random guy from Azerbaijan who was playing in the Portuguese league last week, who we've loaned out. No one's ever heard of him. I went on YouTube, saw what type of player he was, Googled him, checked his attributes, like his stats and stuff like that. Did a 8-minute video on him. And it's like got thousands of views again because no one's ever heard of him. But like, yeah, the wall side of things, like it's done so well. And rather than just a YouTube channel, which I intended it to be, it's like a whole like social media channel and platform. It's like Twitter, it's got like over 7,000 followers. Facebook, it's got thousands of likes. Instagram as well. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's one of the now, like, it might sound a bit big-headed, but like one of the more well-respected Wolves accounts now, which is really good. And to balance that now with the football manager, the full-time job, the coaching, the tour, it's hard. Then but yeah, it's I'm always busy. I'm not always just sat around doing anything, which is always good, to be fair.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. So as a Wolves fan, then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if it would change if it was a Wolves fan versus a Wolves researcher, but how do you reckon you're going to do this season?
I still think we'll do okay. I know I'd assume we'll come on to a question in a minute, which I saw on Twitter as well. But obviously getting European football is going to be difficult for us to replicate last season. But I still think we'll be up there. I think we showed how well we could play up against Leicester at the weekend, just gone. And I think it's probably between us, Leicester, West Ham and Everton to probably get in that top 7. Chelsea could drop out, I think, after that first weekend performance as well. But I'm confident we can probably sit between 7th and 9th again. Confident of a top half finish definitely this season.
And you're not in Europe this year, are you? You didn't quite make the cut.
Yeah, we are. So
they are.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah.
And what do you reckon about? How do you reckon you'll do in that side of things?
We've got one more big task before we get into the group stage. So we've got the playoff round. We're against Torino, which I think is a really tough game. Like, we play them away first at home.
Yeah, Magnus was asking on Twitter about that. I saw before we came on there.
Yeah, so I think he asked about sort of the Torino and how we're doing, how he thinks we'll cope with Europe. So yeah, Torino I think is such a tough team. Like, I think they finished 7th in Italy, to be fair. I saw a lot of people saying, yeah, but the quality of English football is better than Italian. And I thought, yeah, but right, so they got some Belotti, I think Sirigu in goal as well, mate. They got some good players. So yeah, I am a bit worried about them. But if we can get through there, I think group stages should be okay. We still get a decent gap in between games. As long as we get a favourable draw of teams sort of this side of Europe, I think we should be okay. I think we played a team in Armenia last week, and that was like a 6,000-mile round trip or whatever. We looked okay against Leicester. Yeah. So I think if we get a favourable draw, it'll be okay. The weeks that you've got home games in Europe, it shouldn't be a big impact because you're still going to be playing Sunday, Monday. You're still getting 3 or 4 days rest without having to travel. So yeah, I'm confident, and as long as we can get through and maybe get through to like the first, second knockout round or the quarterfinals or whatever, I think it's a really positive campaign.
And what did you think of your transfer doings this summer? And if you were in charge, who would you have signed?
It could have been a lot better. It could have been worse. So I think we were linked with signing Ruben Dias, which would have been a ridiculous capture. But I think they wanted his release clause, which was like £60 million. I think Wolves are really cautious because they didn't want to spend so much money. Our squad is tiny still, especially for European football. I don't think they wanted to spend so much money bringing all these players, have a massive squad, and then for us to flop next season. And then you've got this massive wage bill. You've got all these players. So I think they were very careful with who they brought in. So Vallejo from Real Madrid, who I think is a great signing. We've not seen him play yet. I'm expecting him to have a lot of game time in Europa League and stuff. Patrick Catrone as well. He's brilliant on FM as well. So I didn't mind that too.
I think that's a good signing.
Yeah, and I think he's a good price. I think it was 16 million up to 20
million. Seems like a steal to me. I'm a big fan of his. Like, he's very sort of hard-working forward.
Yeah, for something like Ollie McBurney, who's just gone to Sheffield United for over that, that puts it in perspective, you know what I mean? So looking forward to him. I've seen little parts of him as well. He's actually quite a big guy, and he can get around a little bit. But I think we needed a big midfielder, to be honest. Our midfield's great, don't get me wrong. So Matinho, Neves, Dendoncker. But we haven't got a big midfielder who can get the ball and drive forward. And that's why we struggled against small teams last year. The teams that sat back, we really struggled to break them down. And I think everyone was screaming out for that. We failed with a last-minute bid to get Frank Kessie from AC Milan. Would he have been the man? I'm not sure, but he would have been a great player. Lamina,
he's a good player.
Highly linked with Lamina from Southampton as well. I wouldn't have minded as an option, but yeah, the window was good. It could have been better, but again, it could have been a lot worse as well.
I was just going to say I'm a Newcastle fan, and that season we finished 5th and went into Europe.
Yeah.
We had a similar kind of transfer window where we didn't bring too many players in. And the season after that, we finished sort of 15th. I think you've got a better squad than we did when we went there.
That's what I mean. Everyone keeps comparing us to Burnley, and I'm there like, look at
look at
Burnley's squad there,
better squad than Burnley.
And then look at it now. And people are saying, yeah, well, Burnley struggled so much the season after because of their Europa League campaign. They got knocked out in the qualifiers, like the playoff qualifier. So how has that affected the rest of their season? You know.
So we got to a quarter final that season. So I mean that was a lot of extra
you know
games.
What I mean? Yeah. So, but yeah, I think you are right with the transfers. That's the main reason. I was surprised we didn't like exploit the loan window a bit more. I think that's what they're trying with Lemina and stuff, to get him on loan with a obligation to buy. But I think Southampton were being a bit funny. They wanted the money like there and then, I think. But yeah, we signed we had some random transfers. So it was like a Friday morning. Some Italian papers said that a guy called Pedro Neto and Bruno Jordao from Lazio were joining Wolves. No one had ever heard of him. By the Friday night, they'd signed the pair of them for 20 million for both. I was like, who the hell are these two? So like 18, 19-year-old, one's a centre mid, one's a winger. We don't even play with wingers, so I'd imagine he'll be playing as a striker. But yeah, 20 million for the pair of them. And I was like, no one's ever heard of them. So I think they've got a little bit of pressure on them, but hopefully, again, we see a little bit of them in Europe too.
Yeah. I saw your Twitter feed going off a bit first game of the season. What do you think about the introduction of VAR this year, and what are your thoughts on that?
All right. So, well, now I've calmed down a bit, to be fair. the VAR on Sunday worked. It did its job, so it was correct. But the thing I hate is the new rule, which has obviously been brought in to coincide basically with VAR. That handball rule, I just don't understand it. Like, why is, how is an unintentional handball, how can you penalise that, especially the manner it did? We were going crazy, celebrating, and then when it just came up on the screen, like, you just had doubt straight away. And so yeah, I don't know. And the offside for the Man City game was ridiculous as well. And I saw in the news today, it's already sort of they're talking about changing rules. How can you change rules after one weekend? It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan. As a football fan that goes regularly to games, I'm not a huge fan. And depending on how the rest of the season goes, as it stands, I would not be bothered if they scrapped it for next season.
Yeah, I saw that sort of Danny Murphy talking about it.
Yeah,
that you retweeted. I completely agreed with what you were saying. It's not going to improve the game and stop people talking about these kind of decisions. Then what is it even there for?
Like, he said the percentages, and they were so minimal. Like
yeah,
what you should have, it's almost not the same as, but something similar to goal line technology, where it's almost instant and stuff like that. If it's a clear, they keep saying clear and obvious. If it's a clear and obvious offside, then it goes on the ref's watch or ref's ear. That's it. But stuff like that handball was just. It's unintentional. How can that be a rule? How can that be? If he'd scored with his hand, I agree with that.
Yeah,
but it's just bounced off his arm and come out too.
So
yeah, it's so annoying. But yeah, it's one of them. But yeah, we could talk about it for ages. But you are right. I'm not a huge fan of VAR, but depends what happens.
Obviously, I keep saying obviously.
It's obvious though.
It is pretty obvious that you are, doing 3 videos a week on YouTube, and you're training a team. What team are you managing? Is it a men's senior team, or is it a youth team?
It's like a young team. So like last year, it's under 8s now, but last year was the first ever time any of them like kicked a ball really. So it's like first, basically I was told because I put an interest. It was someone that I know runs a team basically, and he wanted to branch out and do different age groups. So me and one of the young lads' dads sort of come together. We did managing a team. But yeah, all of them never kicked a ball before. So we got together in the September, and sort of in November, we're like, right, your league's starting now. I was like, oh God. So first week, you have 2 games a week, and we're losing like 7, 8, 9-0. And like, you're obviously meant to like encourage them and that, but I take it too seriously. Like I did one of the FA like welfare courses. Like I didn't like have to go. Like I didn't get invited because I've been abusing refs or anything like you got to do it.
Touchline bans and whatnot. Yeah.
Like you have to do it as part of the thing anyway. And they were saying like all these people are volunteering and stuff like that. So just be nice to them and how to talk to the kids and stuff. And I'm there like, oh, maybe I am a bit strong to be fair, but but like by the end of the season we were playing the same teams and like beating them and getting draws and like across 7 months, like you improved them so much. So yeah, like it's going to be an interesting season coming up for us now because I think it's going to be our first season where we're going to really remain competitive against some good teams. But yeah, it's good fun. I mean, it's only an hour a week for me to sort of for training, and then obviously the match is normally on a Sunday. So it's good fun to be fair. Obviously at that age, 7-8 years of age, they are a bit of a nightmare sometimes. But yeah, it's all good fun.
Yeah, very rewarding. Like,
definitely. Yeah.
Have you got them playing sort of gegenpressing?
I wish. Yeah. Like the manager's bad enough because you know Rondo. Yeah, when they all they're all round in their circle and someone's in the middle. So I obviously call it a Rondo. Like, we'll do a Rondo, but the manager, like the other guy that I do it with, he thinks I say Rondon as in the player. So like every week he's like, should we do a Rondon? I'm there like, I don't want to correct him though because we did one today at training. He goes, right in the circle, they're going to do a Rondon, and someone says, what's that? Obviously they knew he was wrong. I said, yeah, come on, let's start the Rondo. And then he sort of looked at me. I was there like, nah, carry on calling it Rondon. It's funny. Yeah. I mean, at that age now, I was just trying to get him to pass because I think a lot of them just want to get the ball, head down and run as far as they can. Yeah. But yes, like we had a match at the end today and the way they were knocking it about is much better. And I wish I almost recorded the first session because we did a Rondo on the first session. They couldn't pass it once. We did a Rondo today and they were like knocking it about really well. So yeah, that's one of the best things, seeing how much they improve.
Progress, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're doing that. You've got the YouTube channel just hit 10k subs.
Yeah.
You're working for Football Manager. May I remind anyone listening to this? He gets paid by Football Manager to watch football games. So what's the plan for the future? Are you going to just more of the same? Is it going to be any new ideas in the works? Are you going to, start a fashion company or
carry on really what I'm doing. I'm enjoying this stuff. It's like, as I said, it's like all hobbies really. So carry on doing that sort of stuff. I started doing like, especially the wall stuff. I started doing a lot of media stuff. So I've been doing stuff with 888 Sport and stuff like that down in London, which was good fun about the Premier League really. And just more stuff like that. I love going on my emails and having like an email off a company saying, we want to do this, want to do that. And like the 888 Sport thing, I went and I didn't know what to expect. There was people like Hugh Wizzy there, who's like a really big like Arsenal fan YouTuber. And I was like, what? Like I'm someone here with like on my channel, on my Wolves channel with like 4,000 subscribers. And you're here with like 150, 200,000 followers and subscribers. It was crazy really, but really good experience and just stuff like that. I just love like meeting new people and stuff like that. Outside of Football Manager, outside of like this sort of thing, podcast, I'm actually quite shy. I probably wouldn't walk up to someone in the street and say hello like randomly. But like that sort of thing, when I know we've definitely got mutual interests and stuff like that, it's so easy. So yeah, just want to do more of that stuff really, and just tell my story about football really.
Brilliant. Guy, do you have anything else you'd like to ask?
No, I think that's.
Do you have any questions for us, or we've just like I've had an absolute blast doing this, Dave. Not gonna lie, it's been great fun.
Yeah.
I've had a.
What's the plans for your boys, your podcast and your blog in the future?
Oh well, basically we've recently moved over to a new website. I guess this is the shameless plug bit, right?
Yeah.
This is where we do the plug. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, we've recently moved over to a new website. Same link. It's dictategame.com. Ryan, the guy who set up the website, has done an absolute great job of transferring everything over and getting some guys in to do some work on behind the scenes, and he's setting up a social media team, and he's getting he's getting some graphics guys in to do some stuff as well. So he's working every hour of the day, including probably right now, and he's also works nights, and he's just absolutely knackered at the moment. But fair play to him, he's doing loads there. We've got a couple more articles coming out on the Football Manager Wednesday Wisdom piece. And then I think we've got a very similar tournament we're running with our writers. Actually, could you help me out? I've got a really tricky game next week against the guy who's probably going to win it.
Go on.
And so basically we've set up teams based on our initials.
Okay.
So my name is Dom Lowe, and so my team has got Dybala, Lukaku, Lewandowski, De Gea, and whatever. And he's got he ran out of letters, so he chose conveniently. He chose M and I think he did. So he's got Messi, Mane, Mbappe, Icardi, Modric, Matuidi. Like he's got a ridiculously good team.
Yeah.
And it's a bit scary, but I feel like I'll throw some.
You should have put that in a generator. He definitely chose the best one there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think M was a bit of a tricky one, but yeah, it's quite good.
I think he picked M and H first, didn't he? So he had like Hazard and Allaire.
Yeah,
and
we did let him have that.
Different players as well. We're like, no, that's too good.
But yeah, no, you've got DNA. You do pretty well. I think one of our writers has got H now. So he's got Aubameyang and all of those boys.
That's a good idea,
so
actually.
it's quite a nice way to play it because obviously we're a bit competitive, and I'm sure you are as well with your Football Manager. So it's quite nice to try and see who's the best players. I think Guy's actually unbeaten. He's been a bit quiet, but I think he's actually unbeaten.
So what do you
got a win and a draw.
What do you do that on then? You do that on like draft mode, or you put the teams together?
No. So we made the teams in the editor.
Yeah.
And then exported them and then played them on touch because it was easier than actually doing it like that. So
yeah.
And also then we made a actual save that you could then. So we changed one of the small nations to take the game land or whatever, and had all the teams in there and did the League Cup and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think it might have been Malta actually. Weirdly, I think.
Did it? Was it? Did I really replace Malta? Oh, don't tell him that.
Oh.
I'm just. Sorry. I think I did Gibraltar. I normally do Gibraltar.
Oh, Gibraltar. It might
I normally change. But I don't know. I wouldn't know. Sorry. I'm a bit nervous now. So it's quite nice. Obviously, the summer's a bit of a low period for us content producers. I'm sure you as well.
Yeah.
I guess now with Wolves coming back in, you're a bit busier. But it's just kind of getting ready for FM20. Are you excited for FM20?
I definitely am. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what I'm going to do for it. I haven't got any content plans really at the moment, but yeah, I think I'm feeling a journeyman. I've not done one for a few years. And I used to love a journeyman, so I might go down that sort of route. There's a local team, fairly local, AFC Telford. Might start off with them and just go with that really.
And I'm assuming you don't know anything. You obviously know people that work Field Manager, but you've got no idea on features or release dates, and you wouldn't say anyway. So I don't know why I'm even bringing this up.
I'll be 100%. I've not been told a single thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think this time last year, someone had sent me a screenshot of the purple, and I absolutely hated it. I was like, "Nah, this is hot." I've changed. I always use the dark, I changed to the dark skin anyway. I was like, "Oh my god!" But I've had absolutely nothing. So I've got no spoilers, unfortunately.
Are you thinking there's going to be a lot of changes? Like not from a purely from a fan perspective, not as a employee. Like obviously they changed quite a lot last year.
Yeah,
they did a massive stuff with training and the German league fixes, and it was quite a big change. I think
the thing is, like every year there's always something, but this is one of the first years where it's not perfect, but it's a very, very good game. And like, what else can you add? I think they can definitely improve training. I've always said I want to see training, but I think that would always be one thing that you do on the first week of FM and never look at it again. Like to see if how good your 16-year-old does in training against your first team centre backs or something like that. But I think match engine is the only thing, and I'm not that bothered about the match engine, but that is something they could always improve just to make it better and better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I really enjoyed this year.
I always say every year, I know people moan, but every year I see the game improve. Like this year, I could say is the best Football Manager game I've played. Back in 2009, I'd say FM09 is the best one I played. But I've recently gone back on FM09 and it's crap. I'm learning why have I actually gone back? It kills your memory. So I'd recommend if you're ever looking to go back on an old FM game that you'd like to, don't do it because it'll just ruin the experience.
Fair enough.
Where can people find you if they want to?
Yeah, do you want to do your shameless plugs as well?
Plug, yeah. So on YouTube, I'm just Dave Azzopardi, all one word. So DaveAzzopArdi. Same on Twitter. And if you are bothered about the wall stuff, it's just @Talking Walls everywhere as well.
Brilliant.
Great.
Perfect.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Dave.
My pleasure.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All the best for the future, and yeah, we'll see you soon, I guess.
Cheers.
I'm awful at these. Absolutely awful. But yeah, we'll just leave.